Let's solve 1/2 g t squared minus s is equal to 0 for t. Now the first thing I want to do is clear fractions. That's what we've always been doing if we have fractions. So to clear fractions, I need to multiply both sides by 2. So I can have 2 times 1/2 g t squared minus s is equal to 2 times 0. To clear fractions, I multiply by the common denominator, which is 2. Now I distribute. 2 times 1/2 is 1. So that leaves me with g t squared minus 2 times s would be 2s is equal to 0. Now notice there is no linear term. I have the t squared, then I have something that doesn't have a t. There is no t to the first, so I can solve this by the principal root method. So I'm going to add 2s to both sides to start with to get g t squared is equal to 2s. Now I'm going to divide both sides by g to get t squared is equal to 2s divided by g. So now I have t squared is equal to a constant. I can use my principal root theorem to say t is equal to plus or minus the square root of that constant, which is 2s over g. Now I can rationalize my denominator to say t would be plus or minus the square root of 2s over the square root of g, and multiply by the square root of g over the square root of g to get the perfect square. And I get t is equal to plus or minus the square root of 2sg over the square root of g squared, or t is equal to plus or minus the square root of 2sg over g. Now you could break it down and put t is positive the square root of 2sg over g, or t is the negative square root of 2sg over g, or you can leave it this way with the plus or minus symbol. Now I'm going to give you some exercises. In these exercises, solve for x. The first one, x squared is equal to 25. The second one, 2x squared minus 3 is equal to 0. The third one, ax squared minus c is equal to 0. Carefully copy down the 3 problems, stop the tape, work the problems, and then restart the tape to check your answers. Here come your answers. For the first one, x is 5 or x is negative 5. For the second one, x is approximately 1 in 22 hundredths, or x is approximately negative 1 in 22 hundredths. For the third one, x is equal to the square root of ac divided by a, or x is equal to the opposite of the square root of ac divided by a. If you disagree with any of these answers, be sure to check with someone. As I work the next 2 problems, make sure that you understand that my steps are legal. You may not understand why I choose to do what I do, but make sure you understand that I can do it, and make sure you understand how I get the answers. The theory that I'm going to help you see in the next two examples will be used to derive a formula that will enable us to solve any quadratic equation. Let's solve 2x minus 1 quantity squared minus 8 is equal to 0. Now what I can do is to add 8 to both sides. So I can say 2x minus 1 quantity squared is equal to 8. That's just adding 8 to both sides. Now I'm going to take the square root of both sides. If I take the square root of the left side, I get 2x minus 1. And if I take the square root of the right side, I get plus or minus the square root of 8. In other words, if x squared is equal to a constant, then x is equal to plus or minus the square root of that constant. That's my principal root theorem used again. Now I can add 1 to both sides to get 2x is equal to 1 plus or minus the square root of 8. I'm simply adding 1 to the left. If I add 1 to the left, I'll eliminate the negative 1. If I add 1 to the right, I get 1 plus or minus the square root of 8. Now I want to get x by itself, so what I'm going to do is divide by 2. So I have 2x divided by 2 is equal to 1 plus or minus the square root of 8 divided by 2, where I get x is 1 plus or minus the square root of 8 divided by 2. I can write this as x is equal to positive 1 plus the square root of 8 divided by 2. Or I can write x is equal to positive 1 minus the square root of 8 divided by 2. That's what the plus or minus means. It could be a positive, it could be a negative, and that's how I get my two answers. Now let me show you how to put those answers in the calculator. We're going to do, first of all, 1 plus the square root of 8 divided by 2. Now to do that, you're going to have to use your parentheses. So I can put, let me clear the last answer. So I can put parentheses 1 plus the square root of 8 close parentheses divided by 2. So this is what we have. That's what I'm doing. 1 plus the square root of 8 divided by 2. 1 plus the square root of 8 divided by 2, and hit enter. Now I get 1.91. So we get that x is approximately 1.91. Or, now I'm going to do x is 1 minus the square root of 8 divided by 2. So now we're going to do the parentheses 1 minus the square root of 8 close parentheses divided by 2 and hit enter. Now I get a negative 0.91. So we have x is approximately a negative 0.91.